Greetings, everyone. A very warm welcome to another edition of Marketing the Invisible. I'm Tom Poland, joined today by Dan Kuschell. Dan, g'day from down under, sir. Where are you hanging out?
I'm out here in Arizona. I'm in on the west side, Goodyear, Arizona.
Arizona. And how is the weather in Arizona right now? I heard from a lot of folks this morning, North America, it was pretty warm.
Yes, it's been averaging between 105 and 113 degrees the last 3-4 weeks.
Oh,
So
my goodness. Yeah, we're at the height of summer there and the depth of winter here. Folks, for those of you who don't know Dan, he's something of an all-rounder. He's a husband, he's a dad, he's a serial entrepreneur, he's an angel investor, he's a football coach. He's also founder and chairman of Breakthrough 3X, which is part of the subject we're going to be talking about today. Essentially, what Dan does is he helps business owners like you get more clients. The goal is to 3 to 10 times your growth so you can have a much bigger impact, a much deeper and broader reach, and a much greater contribution. The title, though, has an interesting twist. It's how to exponentially go 3 to 10x and escape the traps of your business, because growing 3 to 10 times is wonderful, but if you end up trapped and losing your life in the process, it's not so great.
That's right.
Dan, thanks for being here. This is not your first time on the show. It's a pleasure to have you back again. Our 7 minutes starts now. Question 1 is, who is your ideal client?
Ideal client are founders and CEOs, who, typically have 3 core values. Number 1, they're hyper growth minded, Tom. And they really want to exponentially grow. They're not interested so much in like just little bits of growth, but they really want to have an exponential impact in their world. So that's the first core value. Second core value, they're very collaborative and teamwork driven. And number 3 is they're very contribution oriented and impact. In other words, they're not trying and stressed to like make money per se for themselves or make payroll or those sorts of. They're really about making a bigger dent, leaving a legacy, forwarding a legacy, that sort of thing. So founders and CEOs of growing companies
who have something that's going to make a difference in people's lives or businesses, and who understand the value of teamwork.
Absolutely.
So folks, let's move on then. Question 2, 6 minutes left. What would you say is the problem that you solve for these entrepreneurs?
Well, you might be wondering, Tom, why the heck am I holding this thing in my hand, this domino, right? The domino, right? So the problem we solve, right? Lots of people take a lot of different approaches in business. And one of the things that we look to do is we like to find the one domino that can knock over 1,000 dominoes, right? Or the one key strategy that solves 1,000 other things in the business, right? And simplifies things when it's all said and done. So the problem we solve is a lot of founders and CEOs, they're wearing 9 hats in their business. It's pretty common. Like, one of our clients we're working with right now, when we met, about 2 years ago, this founder, all those criteria I mentioned, Tom, about our ideal client, he's in the health space. And what he was doing is he was the one overseeing his marketing. Like, so he's in his ad accounts for, Google and Facebook and this sort of thing. And on top of that, he was designing his marketing and insight and building his models. And on top of that, when appointments would come in, he was actually, not all the appointments, but a majority of the appointments, he was also talking to people to enroll them in what he does. So wearing a lot. And then on top of that, he was involved in admin. And we said, well, what if we could help free you up? In other words, tilt one domino. So what's the one domino? The one domino, Tom, is getting a marketing system in place to run without you or me, right? So in other words, we're not in a place where we're the one having to be the main rainmaker in our business anymore, right? Where typically we can go from like a couple appointments a month to 100 appointments a month, but then have other team members that are part of the system that are enrolling them, or the system itself enrolls them, right? And getting free from the day-to-day. fact, what we find is a lot of the founders we work with get free from the day-to-day, or they set the stage because they want to sell or exit the business, just depending on their personal desires, as well as we've got some clients we've helped set the stage to even go public. So those are a couple key things. It's the domino related to getting a marketing and selling system in place to generate leads and clients without you or me.
Thank you, sir. Just over 3 minutes left, 5 questions to go. So you've already touched on some of the symptoms, right? The owner is the bottleneck, they're trying to do everything. Any other quick symptoms? A lack of time, I imagine, would be one. Very busy, maybe a little stressed. Anything else you want to touch on in terms of symptoms? 3 minutes left.
Quick symptom is start at the beginning. Begin with the end in mind, which a lot of visionary founders are great at doing, Tom, as you know. But one of the things that we find, number one reason, the Department of Labor did a study and found the number one reason most businesses fail is they don't have a marketing plan blueprint in place. And this shows up in a lot of ways, lack of alignment on the team, lack of direction, people operating on all these different pods. So I would say start with a marketing plan blueprint to get you and your team in alignment, and then also set the course of direction for your vision for the next 1 to 3 years. That's a really critical mistake that most make. They don't have that in place. In fact, 100% of our clients have not had that in place when we started working with them up front. And we've surveyed thousands, and we found that over 98.6% don't have that in place.
Pretty close to 100%. Thank you. So that covers question number 4 very well too. And question number 5 is like a top tip. We got 2 minutes left. And I guess your top tip is going to be get that marketing plan in place. Or is there something else you wanted to offer?
No, I think the first step is to get a marketing plan blueprint in place is the beginning stage, because it sets the course for everything else.
Perfect.
It's like
all right.
One down.
Thanks, Dan. 80 seconds left. Question number 6 is, can we direct people to a free resource that they might be able to find out more about the marketing blueprint, what you do? Where would people go to find out more?
Yeah, so real simple. We put together a simple package, Tom, for people that are going to watch this and listen. You can go get access to it, where you can get a simple 2-page fill in the blank marketing plan blueprint template that we've been using for over a decade. We're going to give that to you free. In addition, some of you may be more advanced than that. So we also are going to include a free tool called the CEO checklist. It's really geared for people like maybe me, or maybe you listening, because maybe you're a creative visionary, you're not an administrative type CEO, maybe you weren't trained in a professional school of being a CEO. We're going to give you that CEO checklist. We also have our hiring toolkit. I've actually employed over 1,000 full-time employees.
45 seconds left. Where do they go, Dan?
Go to activate.breakthrough3x.com to get access to the free tools that we've made available. The small toolkit.
So activate.breakthrough3x.com. Perfect. Right. 30 seconds left. Plenty of time for the last question, which is, what's the one question I should have asked you but didn't?
Why the heck do you coach high school football?
Yeah, I'm guessing you got some kids in high school football, have you?
Well, my son is just going into high school, truth be told, but I love building young men. And, I think there's a lot of reasons, but for the sake of time, I'll just say I love building leadership in young people.
Fantastic.
And inspiring the future generation.
All right.
It's a lot.
Lovely. Dan Kuschell, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.